The Wests Tigers podcast is brought to you by the Wests Tigers Podcast Forum. Join the conversation today at weststigerspodcast.com.au.
Episode number 478 of the West Tigers podcast. It is a post-loss edition. 24-10, the final score against the Dragons, although as far as I'm concerned, the final score I think was something along the lines of 16-10 because I turned it off after 68 minutes. So don't ask me, boys, about anything that happened between the 69th and the 80th minute because I didn't see any of it. I could not watch another second. 68 minutes, that was more than enough. Let's start with our one-word submissions. Nick, what have you got for us? Hello.
Hi, Joel. Pleasure to be here, as always, and hello to everyone listening. Thank you for listening. My one word is Robbie, and it's not Robbie Farah. Some of you may know a movie character called Robbie Hart, who was played by Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer. Back in 1998, I just did a bit of research before we came on. In that movie, which is a great movie, Robbie Hart sings a song called Somebody Kill Me Please. And when I think about the pain of sitting through that 80 minutes yesterday and many thoughts that were going through my mind and thinking how many rounds we've still got left, I actually was wishing someone was there killing me. So Robbie is my one word, Joel.
Well, I love that, and I'm going to go with that a little bit more. I thought you were going to say John Lovitz when he says he's losing his mind. And I'm reaping all the benefit. Too. Nick is losing his mind, and we're all reaping the benefit, I think.
Correct.
Josh, how you doing? What do you got for us?
Well, I tried for just one word, and it's kind of a bunch of variations on one word. I mean, fatigued, spent, drained, weary, battered, gassed, cooked, shot, sapped, depleted, running on empty. So I kind of looked at all those, and I think three words, running on empty. I feel like from the moment we got out there, it looked like we were running on empty. And I think that probably is how we looked the week before too. And I think, I think not just in that game, I think with the amount of injuries this season, and I think there's a bunch of guys probably playing with injuries. I think we're gassed, we're running on empty, and with Appy going down, we're probably, we're done, I think. So, I think that's where we are at the moment.
Isn't it scary to think that we're done with, 8 or 9 weeks to go? Like, there's a long way to go. And this could get really, really ugly.
It could get ugly. I was kind of looking at the ladder today, especially after Parramatta one, and we have, we play two of the teams below us or three of the teams below us in the next few weeks, if you include the Dragons after the bye. And we could well be second last soon. Oh, I mean, we can't get the spoon, which is, happy days. But
yay.
Well, I mean, the Dragons could win 8 from 8, but I don't think that happened. So we could be second last at the end of the season. We could struggle. It doesn't look promising.
Yeah, well, we'll dissect a few things, obviously, from the Dragons, Schmozzle, very shortly. One word to describe the game. Well, I've got, like Josh, a plethora of one words. Not a plethora of pinatas, if you're a fan of the Three Amigos. This is slightly turning into the movie show podcast. I've got quite a substantial list, a plethora of one-word submissions that have come to me either during the game or after the game. I've got energy and a question mark because there just was none. Even after a minute, you could tell we were off again. Deja vu, obviously, because it was just like the Knights game, where you thought, this is. They're going to come and score. There's no doubt about it. This is not the way that the final score is going to be, and they're going to be celebrating, and we're going to be lamenting. One-dimensional. I thought, our attack one-dimensional. Physicality's in there because our forwards just have very, very little impact, or at least consistent impact. And then I've got two other words here. One quite warm and one quite sharp and quite harsh. I'll go with the harsh and sharp one first. I thought it was pretty pathetic. I think for a professional sporting organisation to have had what happened last week against the Knights and to have not learnt from that or not adjusted anything or just sort of prepared the way that we must have prepared. It's a really hard word and I don't like using it, but I think it's really apt. But I've also got here, and this is my one word, and that is fans. And that is that I've got some real sympathy for we fellow West Tigers fans. And I've been reading the socials and forums and looking at the comments, and there's a lot of people out there that are really, really feeling it. And they really feel like the floor's fallen out from under them because we had some hope. We thought we'd turned the corner. We thought things were on the up. And we're back in a pretty dark spot, Nick. I haven't quite seen a reaction like this for a little while from the fan base, even to the point of people calling for Benji to quit. It's gone from 0 to 100.
You know why? Because it's post-traumatic stress syndrome. We've talked about this before, or disorder. Sorry, PTSD. We've been through this so many seasons in a row, and it's just like the story's been written, year after year, exactly the same way. It just ends up the same way. I've got a good mate. Shout out to Scott. He won't give away his surname just in case. I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but was messaging me yesterday after the game saying that he's probably going to get on the Warriors bandwagon for the rest of the year because he's actually said that he's completely disengaged with West Tigers social media. He stopped listening to podcasts last week because he just can't handle it anymore. And I completely get where he's coming from. And a few years ago, I jumped on the Raiders bandwagon about this time of the year because I was sick of still follow the Tigers clearly, obviously, but I wanted someone as a backup just to, try to be happy through a September period and see what it was like. So I honestly don't blame my mate for wanting to follow a team that's going to be giving it a red hot crack in the next couple of months. Josh sitting there smiling. But mate, you can't blame anyone, Josh. Honestly, it's horrible. It's a horrible situation that we're in again.
Oh, no, totally, Nick. I was just smiling because you wanted to get on a team that was going to have success in September, and you jumped on the Raiders as your second choice. I mean,
a few years ago.
Surely there were better options.
It was a few years ago.
Yep. Interesting comment. Who to blame? It's one of those situations, and I've got some main talking points here that maybe we'll sort of launch into rather than talking about the ins and outs of the game, and we'll sort of cover them through those talking points, but. I wanted to sort of start with Benji. Some comments that he made in the press conference, Josh, he took responsibility. He said, we need to look at the preparation that we had, and I've got to take accountability as coach. But he said, we got what we deserved. But I mean, is he giving them too much of a cuddle too frequently? Like, I sort of would say that I don't necessarily think that's Benji's fault more than I don't think it's necessarily right for him to take the responsibility in this case. I know he's got to take some responsibility, but surely he's got to shovel some of the responsibility towards that playing group.
I mean, yeah, of course, the responsibility in some cases does fall to the playing group. I actually thought there was really poor coaching last night. I thought the way, the style we came out to play, we didn't offload. We didn't, we were one out hit ups up the field, which were reasonably successful, but they don't, it was very one out. It doesn't really tire the defense or make the edge work. And then when we got down the red zone, we were just passing side to side. I thought, because I kind of went through all the individual players and thought none of them were particularly bad. And obviously the players need to take some responsibility because I thought the energy just wasn't there. But when the energy's not there and when the way you play is poor, I kind of think that does come down to the coach. So I think he should take a bunch of responsibility for the last 2 weeks. I think it's been, I think the players obviously do as well, and they should. And I would imagine behind closed doors they're probably copying it, but it didn't. It's different if a team goes out and you check out the stats and obviously the stats and everything, but we ran the ball. We made more post contact meters. We made more meters. We made less errors. There weren't like individuals out there dropping 5 balls, or there weren't guys missing, 10 tackles like we've seen in some other games. I mean, partly because the Dragons probably aren't that good either. That definitely matters.
Thank heavens. Otherwise, that would have been 100-0. Yeah, correct.
So I think that's obviously plays a part. But no, I think Benji should take responsibility. But I do get your point that I mean, as a fan, and I think all of us as fans, sometimes we just want to hear the coach come out and give the players 2 barrels for losing to a team that's won one game all year. It's fairly crap. So yeah, I do definitely see where you're coming from.
Just one thing on Benji, he's been saying the same thing over and over for the last number of weeks, that he needs to go back and take a look at how he's prepared the team, and a lot of it falls back on him. It's the same spiel, and there's no improvement. Like, nothing changes. The only thing that changes is, okay, Alex Twelve's back, great, so he's in the 13 jersey. But what else has changed? He's shuffling wingers and centers out wide, playing out of position. Jock's done a good job covering in the halves, but why not give Latu a go? I know we've spoken about Latu, and last week we were talking about Latu would benefit playing in Cup for the rest of the year alongside Javon, get his minutes up, which I agree with. But again, all you've been saying with Latu, when's he going to get a crack in the halves? Now, I didn't watch the Cup game, Josh, but I know you did.
He was very good. As was Javon, too, to be fair. I mean, they are both exceptional. Like, the interesting thing we talk about putting him down to New South Wales Cup to get confidence. It's almost not worth it, though. You watch him there, and like, he's not. It's not at the level where I don't think he gets much extra confidence by going back, because every time he goes back there, he just blows them apart. So it's not. I don't know what he learns. Because I was agreeing with you last week about getting him back to Cup. I don't know what he learns when he goes back there, because he doesn't. It's not. He's too good for that level. So he either has to. But then with Louis and Duai and Dewey in the halves, I know Madden was he could have played on the weekend, and I think Madden was the right choice before the game. I'm not sure it worked out that way, but I don't know if he gets much from going back to play 80 minutes at Cup and play again. It's like a footballer going back and playing country footy. Like, what do you actually get from that? You're not, you're just too good. So
I'll quickly say too, sorry, Josh, that you mentioned that we weren't offloading. Now, I completely blame Joel, because Joel's been banging on for weeks that Terrell needs to stop offloading and just run. I think everyone's just followed his lead.
Yeah.
And what happened to Benji Ball, right? The media, Fox was talking up Benji Ball for the first 7, 8, 9 weeks of the competition and saying how great it was to watch. And then Benji comes out and he says, shut that down. I don't want to talk about that. It's not called Benji Ball. That's what you might call it. We're focusing on defense. It's defense first. That's what we're building our game on. You know what? That's great. But where's our attack gone? Since he shut that down, we're not attacking anymore.
Well, I can give you the answer to that. And that is that we are not dominating. We are not winning the collision. We are not gaining any momentum, and we're not gaining any. We're just. Yeah, with the full, it all starts, and our problem here is a few busted backs, but it is mostly the forwards are not getting on the front foot. Forwards are not getting on the ascendancy as they were earlier in the season, which means that when you can't go forward, you start go, which way do you go? You start going sideways, and that's exactly what we started doing. And I think some of that is because we are perennially the April premiers, where we run into some teams that are warming their way into the season, and we had a full strength pack back in earlier in the year, and we were dominating up front in a lot of games, and we looked a totally different team. That forward pack that we had named, and to be fair, the Dragons forward pack more than held their own. They really dominated. I know the stats probably don't show it, but I thought that their physical, what they were able to show in that physical nature was significantly better than ours. And just on Terrell, if I can say one thing, like something that completely and constantly stifles our momentum is he gets the ball on the fifth and has a slow play the ball. And then the ball's going back and it's all slow motion, and then it's Taylor ball. It's five bombs and a kick, 5 tackles and a bomb. It's never. Nobody's going to fall for that. It's never going to work. And is our only play, okay, ruck it up, Skelton ruck it up, Taruva ruck it up, one other back ruck it up, then we bomb. Oh, and Buller can run through and he can jump higher and he can get it and score. Is that pretty much our only set play? Because that seems to be all that we revert to.
We had a really good last tackle play in the first half yesterday. Yeah. Tony Suku got tackled on the last changeover on the 20. What is that? Like, what is the team doing? What are the halves doing? Like, why does he get it
exactly? Yeah. Tony Suka shouldn't get it. That was, I mean, and look, I think we're struggling on the edges because we have Suka and Fainu in those second row, and we have Taruva, who, for all his effort, is just not a centre. Like the ball dies every time it gets to him in the centres, and that's not his fault. Like, I actually give him a lot of credit, because I think playing out of position, he's had a real crack. this year. So, and then the other side, Macassini, like there you've got your centers and your back rowers on both sides. There's just no strike on either side, and therefore, and the halves haven't been great, but therefore you don't have many other options other than a fairly average bomb at the end, because you got no one to hit there who's kind of running onto
Correct.
the ball. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're just not denting the line. As you said, Terrell May's great, and he does a lot of great things, but don't get him the ball in the attacking zone.
Mm,
Like
mm,
that's not what he's good at. He's good in the first 60 meters of the field. Like
yeah.
it's horrible when it just slows everything down.
Mm,
And even when he stands there and he holds it and he moves around, like that has some advantages, but it doesn't have some advantages in the opposition 20, because it gives
yeah.
them time to recover.
And offloads only work when you're getting momentum, when you're gaining when you get when
Yeah.
you get the opposition going backwards, then offloads work. But when they're just standing there and you're just passing the ball for the sake of passing it, so the offload's gone because we're not winning the physical battle. We are in Plodderville. We just have a bunch of plodders up there, hardworking. I mean, Pole was the only forward that came on really and made any impact. And then, of course, the Fanua Pole experience is that, gives away some lazy high tackles. And if, in my notes here, I've got here, high tackle penalty in the 27th minute, 28th minute, Dragons score. Like they made us pay a lot of the time. Thank goodness they're not a good team, because it would have been a very, very scary score the way that we turned up. Is there something in Nick that we just looked at the table and thought all we have to do this week is turn up and it's just going to happen? Did they not respect the Dragons?
Uh, Possibly. I think we might have been. I think we've probably been in that mode for the last few weeks, to be honest. I think, and I mentioned, I can't remember his name, but someone posted in our Facebook group a few days ago about we need to not look at the ladder, as in the team doesn't need to look at the ladder. I think they might have been ladder looking for a few weeks.
Mm.
And, the good start that we had at the start of the year, the media was talking us up and all of us got excited that we're playing finals, and the media was saying we're playing finals. Only 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of the Fox journos, I think it might have been Brent Reed, said the Tigers are going to play finals this year. It's still going to happen. Even though we were on the slide,
Yep.
he said we're still going to play finals. I think it's all got in their ears and it's got in their heads. Maybe we did go in with a little bit of a wrong attitude, but, in saying that, the way that we came out yesterday against the Dragons, very sluggish and disjointed, was exactly how we came out against Newcastle. So I think it's been in the air for a while. I don't think it was specifically yesterday, but it's been in the air, and it worries me deeply that we've still got 2 months to go, a lot of football left to go. And if we continue to decline the way we are, it could get really ugly, to the point where this season could end up as bad as the last few, for all of us fans, sitting here thinking, okay, what have we got out of the year? The first 7-8 weeks are a complete write-off. There's no point talking about it.
And then you look at the Dragons and you look at who they got coming next year, and you sort of go, wow, they're actually starting to build some momentum, and we just seem to be flatlining once again. I mean, Averillo had a good game for the Dolphins, but Averillo replacement for Toa, it's an improvement, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be a massive improvement. Albeit, if you put KPP and you put Samuela back in that team, we're closer. I'm not saying that's the silver bullet to solve all our problems. On that same vein, though, in regards to just looking at the ladder, let's zoom out. The West Tigers have got a history of doing this, of going, starting out the season well, looking really good in April. We did it in the first year of the competition, and then we faced some adversity because Jared McCracken got spear tackled and the wheels fell off in 2000. And we've done that more often than not through 25, 26 seasons. So the question is, Josh, is this psychological or is this physical? In other words, are we not prepared mentally? Are we not prepared physically? Is it a combination of both? What do you think about that? What is it? What is it that makes it's happened so repetitively?
I kind of think this season, or probably the last two, are a little different to some of the previous. I think some of the previous years, there's been, I think in eras there's been different reasons, and I think back to it's partly comes down to a club that's just been chaotic and badly run and badly organized and underfunded, and so I think a lot of the history is a lot of those things where where you start off all right because there's not so much chaos, or you can avoid the chaos for a little while, and it all kind of, and early on there was a mixture of chaotic players and people in the club, and all the infighting, and so I think, but I do think a lot of that's. I mean, I say this when our board collapsed at the start of this season, so maybe there is always chaos around us, but I think there's less chaos this year. But this year, I do think I think a lot of it is physical, and I know we've got, we still have a few guys out, obviously, but I think even a lot of the guys there are playing on, like Alex Twal came back, but a week before he came back, we saw him at training hardly able to walk on that video. I think between Dewey, Toa, and Macassini, they've got about 1.5 working shoulders each. I mean, the reason Toa's playing on the wing is because he can't use his other arm. Dewey avoids, tackling on one side, not the other. Like, I think there's a bunch of guys out there, and Terrell May's played 80 minutes all season. I think they're physically bent, and I think that goes to your depth and not being able to do it. It goes to some injuries, goes to perhaps we're pushing blokes back too soon, but maybe that's to the depth we have. I think it is physical because I don't think this group necessarily has those historical things. Like, they aren't Tigers juniors, a lot of them. They aren't. This is not the history. They're building a different culture, but I think physically they're just destroyed at the moment, be my view.
But it does. I agree with pretty much everything you say there, Josh. But Nick, it does seem like every year we have something come along that manages to derail us. And obviously we know what it was this year. We know what it was last year. Is that something that we need to try and work on, is trying to get a little bit more, we talk about culture, a little bit more resilience and being just a little bit more able to weather these storms?
Yeah, well, this year's different to last year. Last year, obviously, Galvin left, and that's a fair reason to, call it the reason why we, became so unstable and the season fell apart. He was a playmaker, pivotal player in the team. All the talk in the weeks leading up that he wanted out, et cetera, et cetera. So that created a bad smell around the place, and obviously he left, and then we lost a bunch of games. This year with injuries, it's same sort of. I understand what you're saying. Something's happened and we've reacted poorly, or we haven't reacted well at all. But different circumstances. So yeah, the injuries have been bad, and we keep getting hit with major players, key players copping major injuries or significant injuries. Looks like we've lost Appy for a bit, pending scans. So I'm not sure if he had those today or tomorrow, but interestingly, though, during the press conference, he said he felt good about the pec. They did ask him how he felt, so we'll wait and see. But yeah, look, we've spoken about the requirement to improve our depth in key positions for next season, and that's something we obviously have to do. Maybe Benji also needs to have a look at, maybe it's not so much depth. Maybe he just needs to think about how he can change the makeup of our team going into games when we are missing specific players, rather than plugging a hole with a plotter.
Yeah,
I don't want to call Tony Sukker a plotter, but maybe there's someone a bit more dynamic that has a bit of an edge about their game that can come in and play a spot. Like, for example, and I'll backtrack a little. I did say on the previous pod before this game against the Dragons, I was excited to watch AD and Jock playing the halves because we saw what they did against the Warriors earlier in the year and they looked good. Yesterday, I'd be happy to put Jock back in cup and give Latu a crack in the halves. I just think, or even Javon. From what I've seen from the highlights packages from Javon this season in the cup, I'd rather give someone like him a crack, someone a little bit different.
It's really interesting. I was kind of thinking about my side for next week, and I kind of thought, well, you've got, assuming Jerome comes back, so you've got Jerome and Adam, but we're really short in the centers, and not because I think it's the long-term option, but I almost think we have fit guys in the halves who can come in, and we have injured blokes or wingers playing in the centers. Put Adam out in the centers, put Latu and Jerome in the halves. Adam can still do some of the kicking. He can still do his run. He can be a heavily involved center, but we're kind of running out of options. So, whereas we have a bunch of fit guys who can play half or 5'8". So maybe we've got to move him around for the sake of the team.
I don't know how fit Dewey is, though. I mean,
That's true.
As we referenced earlier with that shoulder, I mean, I think he's heading for a hospital bed. I think at some stage it's going to be. They might as well just set up a mobile hospital out the front, at the front of Concord. Just get them in and get them done. Yeah, so a bit interesting points. And yeah, you can't keep playing centres in wingers in the centres because we're copping it. It's not the right strategy.
So talking about wingers and centres and playing guys out of position, I want to credit Ryan on the sideline, who we spoke about a couple of pods ago. Go and give him a follow if you can follow him on Instagram, Facebook. But he mentions, I think in a post today, Solomon Sakuru, and Josh, you've spoken about him, has been killing it in Cup. I think Ryan said he believes he's probably the form centre in New South Wales Cup at the moment from any team. Now, I'm not a big follower of Cup, but I know that he's been spoken about very highly over the last several weeks. Why is he not getting a look in?
It's a really good question. And look, he's in New South Wales Cup. Look, he's fit, he's big, he's strong. So defensively, I mean, he's historically a winger. He's playing in the centres. Defensively, he's been doing the job because he is physically strong and he doesn't look like he's playing injured, which puts him above half our back line. I will say, if you're a centre in New South Wales Cup playing outside Javon Andrews, which is the side of the field he plays,
Makes you look good.
It makes you look very, very good because he is sublime. So whether that does translate to an NRL level, but given we have so many blokes playing, like there's just guys who probably need a week off, and we're going to lose to the Warriors anyway. So I agree.
Love the confidence.
Put him in there. Wow, I think we all understand that that's going to happen. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Is it too early to wave the white flag, Joel?
Did you bring a white flag?
I can make one.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the one-word submissions from the West Tigers podcast forum. Thanks to everybody. Lots of good ones. In numerator, their word was same. Same, actually. It was, we try, we hope, but all we get is the same. Mr. Anonymous 26, hopefully Benji walks away. It's a big call. Shan's word was, we need stability, and we've also managed to paint ourselves into a corner once again because we've got all these guys that re-signed because, hey, Benji's re-signed. So we've kind of got to stick with Benji, even if we lost every game to finish the rest of this year. And yeah, it's painted into a corner once again. Well done, management. Shan's word was joke. Joke of a club, team, coaching staff, and joke of a fan base for continually supporting this garbage.
That's a bit harsh.
Tiger. And that wasn't even 5 minutes after the game. So Shan had some time to think about it. But it's okay. I get it. Wagga Tiger, coaching. It's indefensible. The selections and gameplay, season over, and that's on Benji. CQ Tiger went for the word glass. They have a glass heart. Nat Max 78, their word was skyhooks. And I'm going to show my age here. So it could be any number of different Skyhooks songs, like ego is not a dirty word. So maybe Benji's ego getting in the way. No, that wasn't the word. Jukebox in Siberia. Some of these players should be sent to outer Siberia, or at least the shredder, the nearest shredder. Living in the 70s, no. If we were living in the 70s, we'd probably be happier because Magpies and Tigers would be winning. Horror movie was the word from Nat Max 78. It was a horror movie, and it was the sequel to last week's horror movie. It was 2 in a row. Yanni went for saving money. And if anybody knows, the Skyhooks are a group that were big in the 70s and 80s. So, because you have to explain these kind of things nowadays, Nick, because people don't know. It's like, yes, Grandpa. Yanni's word was saving. Saving money, now not going to Vegas and not renewing my membership. So good economic sense, Yanni. Tiger Lily, no heart. Teddy S, Taylor Ball, this team is broken and irreparable. Peter A went for thanks. Thanks for putting me out of my misery. Osmo 07, embarrassing, nothing else to say. Snake's word was cellar, where they belong. So you could say something along the lines of the West Tigers spend more time in the cellar than Mrs. Bates.
Which is an interesting one because I messaged some other mates yesterday after the game and I said, there's a lot of reason why we need a two-tier competition.
Yeah.
Like the NRL is expanding. There are specific teams, West Tigers, that are just struggling. And the Dragons.
Drop us back so we can build some confidence, huh?
And dare say Perth will be in that bucket. The way that they're going with recruitment, I don't know. It's an unknown, but who knows what's going to happen with PNG. But there's just certain teams every year that just struggle to be competitive.
Tigersman, errors. We can make them, but we can't defend them. That's so true. Mac Tiger, deja vu. LFC Tiger, utter disgrace. Season over in the most pathetic style possible. London Tigers went for training. What do we do all week? And Mike, their word was also, it was pathetic. I've seen this movie before for 15 years. Mercy Rule also is one of our very popular posters on the West Tigers podcast forum. He asked the question, how does the attack coach keep his job? We've scored 16 points in 160 minutes. Josh, do we need to look at who's around Benji this offseason? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a review as to what worked, what didn't work. And we all love Brett Hodgson. Man, what a full-hearted player that he was. But it maybe that's something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that's. I mean, I think everything needs to be reviewed. I think it's always hard with assistant coaches. I mean, we always talk about assistant coach this or that, but the head coach is responsible. Like, I think that Benji sets what we're doing, and Benji sets how that works, and our attack has had a lot of good points. It's had some bad points, as is our defense. Like to me, yesterday was about the forwards not being able to create the opportunities for tries. Like, we were getting down there, but as you said, there was slow play of the balls. We weren't physical. Your favorite word, Joel, physicality.
Physicality, yeah.
So it's like sometimes, like, obviously when we don't score points, it's on the halves and we do on the spine, and we do play on the spine, and that's okay. Because it is their job to create them, but they can't create them without a team that's winning the ruck. To your point earlier, Joel, like, if you're not winning the ruck, you don't create offloads, you don't create space, you don't create things. So the reason we're passing side to side is because we're not making dents in the middle. And so an assistant coach, I don't know. I've always thought mostly at clubs, although I know Adam O'Brien came into the Dogs this year and made their attack worse after making Newcastle's attack horrible as a head coach. But generally, I think assistant coaches is generally shuffling chairs on the Titanic. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying to sack Benji, but I don't think you get, like, the Tigers haven't won all of a sudden 4 or 5 more games this year because you swap Brett Hodgson out for someone else who's willing to come to the Tigers and be assistant coach. Like, it's there isn't a long line of people keen for that job either. So, yeah, I don't know that it makes. We should review it. We should, in detail. Absolutely, the club should do that. But I don't know that it makes a huge amount of difference to where we are this season or next season by changing the assistant coaches.
Nick, the accusation is always sort of like a boys' club that it's too centric on people who used to play here. I mean, I'm understanding exactly where Josh is coming from, and I think there's a really good argument there to say that probably doesn't make a huge amount of difference, and we wouldn't be on that 4 or 5 extra wins or whatever if we had a different attacking coach. But do we need some outside ideas? Do we just need a bit of a refocus? And we always struggle. I think anybody that's been an outsider that's come into the club has typically not worked here. The only people I know, Tim Sheens is the only guy that's really had sustained success, and he certainly wasn't a Tiger. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the answer lies outside of that group, or because it's really hard to know what the actual dynamic of it is. We don't know how responsible Brett Hodgson is, but I don't know. Is it something that might need a bit of a shake-up, do you think?
Possibly, like Josh said, at the end of the season, they're going to have to break the entire 2026 season apart and figure out what did we do well, what did we not do well, where did it fall apart? And it's pretty obvious. The first 8 weeks was good, and then something changed. We beat the Raiders at Leichhardt. We're all Viking clapping, which the Raiders fans hated, and now they're laughing at us because since that game, we've fallen in an absolute heap. So
they're laughing at you. I wasn't there. So.
and the other 17,500 people that were there doing it all together. But yeah, look, everything needs to be reviewed. I don't know about the boys' club thing. Look, everyone was happy with Benji at the start of the year. Everyone was happy with Hodjo. We were attacking. We were scoring points. But as we've said, the team looks completely different the way that we're playing now. It does look like they're tired. We've lost the punch. We're not dominating up the middle like we were at the start of the year. The excitement level has dropped from the players. You can see it. But it shouldn't. Like, there's no freaking excuse. These guys are getting paid huge money that it takes all of us, average battlers years and years and years, if not decades, to make similar money that they get in 1 year. And they're saying, oh, we've run out of steam after 8-10 weeks. Like, pull your finger out. Like, have a crack. You're playing half the year, you're playing NRL and training hard. The other half, you're on the beach with Joel, living it up, having a holiday. So,
that's
playing first grade football. Pull your finger out and play footy.
That big September holiday booking I made is now looking pretty comfortable. I was a bit worried there after 7 or 8 weeks of the competition. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do?
No, you're good.
But I'm going to be absolutely fine, I would say.
Yep.
Okay, Appy is gone. We've touched on this a little bit. Josh, please, Benji, don't just put Latu in, copy-paste Latu in the hooker this week, please. But what are we going to do? Are we going to name some youngsters? Is now the time? It's Campbelltown game, but it's up against good opposition. What are we doing with this team this week, do you think? Does Madden come into the equation potentially to play at hooker? What are we going to do with that? I don't think Lanyon's ready to necessarily start at hooker. Does Hayward get an opportunity? We've spoken a little bit about the halves. I thought if Sakura was going to get an opportunity, and I don't understand because he's been in our system for so long. I don't know why we're not giving him an opportunity. That would have been against the Dragons. I thought that would have been a great place for him to debut, given, like Makasini, he just gets picked even if he's got a leg, only got one leg, seems to get picked, and guys that are fit aren't getting an opportunity. So I don't know what's going on there. But what are your predictions for the team?
Well, I think we'll see Jerome come back into the halves. So it'll be Adam and Jerome in the halves, and then Madden either to the bench or to Cup. I think I'd probably drop him down to Cup and then have Latu on the bench. I think Lanyon has to start. He started against the Titans and he played, 50, 60 minutes and we were all very impressed on it. And I think he has to start. Tristan Hope was withdrawn from New South Wales Cup before the game today, so you can point that's a fairly strong pointer. Hayward was brilliant again, and look, I think he's probably and his passing's amazing. I think his game is he is the highest quality hooker we have coming through, well and truly. But it's a lot to ask a kid to come on and play first grade in the middle at 18, 19. That's physically a lot to ask. And he's not a physically big guy. I think he needs another off season. Do I think he's the most talented bloke there? Yes, but I don't want to bring him into first grade and have him destroyed. So I think it's probably Lanyon and Hope, which doesn't fill anyone with confidence. The forwards are tired. I mean, it's hopefully Sam Fainu's back. Ethan Roberts played 40 minutes today. Played the first 40 minutes and then was taken off. It looked like you've done your job. We're going to play you in first grade. So I think we might see Ethan Roberts back in. And he set up a good try and he looked too good and too big for New South Wales Cup. So I think we'll see him back. And I think, that puts Sione onto the bench. You've got whether Suka plays or not, it's an interesting. I think he'll probably keep his spot just from an injuries perspective. So you got Suka and Sam Fainu. You've got Twal. We're short in the props, but I think there's a lot of exhaustion out there. I think so. But if Roberts comes onto the bench too, and I think Sam Fainu comes back, that gives you a little bit of freshness in that forward rotation. The outside backs is the question. I mean, there's too many guys playing injured. I don't think you can have. What are we looking at? Taruva's probably the only one who's fit, but he's been playing the wrong position. Skelton, you got two right wingers. It seems neither of them can play left wing, which is why Toa keeps getting put out there with his one shoulder. But I would we're going to lose the Warriors anyway. So Makasini and Toa can have a week off to rest their injured bodies. And you bring in Sakura and you bring in Junior Tupou, who played his first game in New South Wales Cup this week. That's who I'd bring in, Junior Tupou.
Junior,
He had 3 long busts today in New South Wales Cup where he got the ball in the backfield and he went through about 6 or 7 blokes. He was, and yes, he dropped one bomb, but he did a lot of good stuff. He looked like the guy when we had him who there's just something about him that creates things. And it was very windy out there. There were a few guys who dropped kicks on both sides. It was a very gale force wind kind of day. So
I know exactly what Joel's going to say. He looked exactly like the player we had.
He did.
Making breaks, dropping bombs.
But he looked fit, which is, which puts him above half our back line. So,
two working shoulders.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a big improvement.
Yeah.
I'll cop one drop ball if it means he doesn't miss 8 tackles.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that is an option there. I don't know what about Patrick Herbert? He must be somewhere around after a couple of weeks off. I think he got suspended for 2 weeks, wasn't it? Or I can't remember what happened with Patrick. Um, yeah, what about Roberts? Do you think he could slot into the second row? That you could put Sione back into the proper rotation, run Suka on one side and Roberts on the other? Any interest in that, Nick? Because
We
I
need,
mean, earlier in the year when Sione was coming off the bench, we looked at what was Sione and Hunt in those days, but I think he's better off the bench.
we have to change something. This is the week that we've got to make those changes just to see what happens. Josh is right. We're playing the Warriors. No one's expecting us to win. I'm actually, in my footy tipping competition, the first game of the week in footy tips, you select the margin. I've, in my sad state, I've picked the Warriors to win by 50 next
wow.
week. So we'll see what happens. So score prediction, it's probably going to be quite high. Yeah, but look, I'd definitely look to change a few things and shuffle the team around a little bit. So, why not this week? Why not?
I can't help but think, Josh, it's an important game for the club. Like, it's at Campbelltown, which has been so bleak for us for so long. But just for the sake of, it's hard because you're playing really good quality opposition. But we've got to turn up with an attitude and at least be competitive against them. I mean, Benji's stuck his neck out for these guys so many times, and they've got to respond this week and at least have a dig.
Yeah, look, I mean, as you said, it's going to be hard. The Warriors had the bye last week too, so they're coming off the bye. They're fresh. Although they probably won't have their couple of Origin players back, I assume a Friday night after Wednesday it'll be too soon. But we have to go out there and have a crack and give it something. I mean, look, as poor as we've been the last couple of weeks, we led both of those last two games after 65 minutes. So we've kind of fallen off in the last 15, and that goes to my one word earlier about being spent. I think, we've played badly, but we've managed to be in front at 65 minutes against, a Newcastle side that I think Nick said they hadn't lost in the last 8 or 9 weeks, or they'd lost one game. And then the Dragons obviously are horrible, but we're up for 65 minutes and then it just fell apart. So the boys have been having a crack. I just think they're running out of puff. I do think it's a really important game, though. I think, we've got to at least be competitive to show that that we won't fall apart at the end of the season. Because if I think back to other seasons when this happened, it's not that I necessarily minded that we were losing, and especially without Appy, you probably do expect losing. It's that other seasons have kind of got to this stage and we've had a bit of adversity and we've lost 5 or 6. We've lost to everyone and we've lost by 60 points and we've been flogged week after week in the end of the season. We can't have that in the end of this season. That's like if we lose a bunch of these games and win a couple, and if we win 2 or 3 without Appy and we stay within, keep all the games close and are really putting in, and then some of them we get beaten at the end, hopefully not by the Dragons again, but then you kind of go, well, they're just running empty and a lot of injuries, and but if we start letting teams put a bunch on us, with maybe some injured players playing, but it's not, we're not that far off our top side. We're 3 or 4 blokes out, so
that's
we really have to have a crack.
That's the most disappointing thing, Josh, that we are not far off our top side. We're missing, although saying that, Sam Miller and KPP on the edges are massive outs, as well as Taylor and May, right? Because
huge.
A lot of our strikers out wide. So you take those 3 boys out, instantly we're weakened. An interesting point, though, like I think this is pivotal. I'm completely writing finals off. I think everyone's just about written finals off now. If there's anyone out there praying that we're going to win our last 8 or 9 games and scrape into the top 8, you're dreaming. Thank you for dreaming, because we do need dreamers, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it can go 2 ways. We can plummet and we can be complete failures like the last several years, and we're the laughing stock of the media again. We pull a finger out and we're competitive. And if we can go 50-50 with the remaining games that we've got left, we're currently clinging to 12th position. We can maybe finish around 12th. And you know what? I didn't want to miss the finals this year. This year was going to be the year that we were going to play finals. But if we can finish 12th, 11th, 12th, somewhere around there, it's not too bad. We've got something to hold on to and build on to improve on next season. And just along those lines, I did put in the West Tigers podcast Facebook page earlier, just for something to have a look at. If you completely scrap the first 8 rounds of the competition, when we were flying high, we were 5-2 with a bye, and we were sitting second. After that Raiders game, we have fallen off the face of a cliff. So if you took round 9 as round 1 and looked at what we've done in the last 10 weeks, we're currently sitting second last on that ladder.
Yeah.
With a for and against of minus 184.
Yeah.
Which is horrific. That is what we've been 3-4 years ago and not where we should be heading. This isn't progress. We are digressing.
I will say, and not that it's that much better, but you did throw all the buys in there, which made that look a bit weird. I did do the same with percentages, and we're 13th. So if you look at a win percentage over that time, the Eels, Titans, Dragons, and Broncos are below us, but they've just had an extra buy. So I don't think having an extra buy means you're performing better than one team or another. I think so. We have been bad, but it's interesting. The Rabbits have won 3 from 8. We've won 3 from 9 in that period. So. There is a bunch of teams who have been like it is starting to split up between the good and the bad as this season progresses. And
we're on the wrong side of the line.
We are on the wrong side. It's not been good
Yep.
for us, but we're definitely not the only one. I mean, Broncos 1 from 8, Titans 2 from 8, Eels 2 from 7. It's not been a good run for anyone. So, it's been a good run for some teams at the top, and it's been a very bad run for a bunch of teams at the bottom. So.
You're speaking very logically, Josh, but I also feel like you're polishing a turd.
Yeah, it's not good, but it's not second last. It's kind of it's outside the bottom 4, Nick, which is where we're now aiming to finish. So,
well, the way I feel and the way all of our fellow PTSD supporters are feeling, it does feel like second last. Like it on recent form, it feels as low as it gets. Really, I feel low. I feel like a few years ago when we couldn't beat anyone. Like I'm looking at, we were talking about this on the last pod, Joel, when we were saying we can see the Dragons beating us. Like if things don't go right, it's like that when I look at every single game we have left. It's very hard to see us beating anyone the way we are currently going.
And, you take injuries into account, you take things, your captain signing elsewhere mid-season, and you take all that into account. But West Tigers, if you looked at it completely from an external position and a completely unemotional perspective, you would say that there's something about this club that is along the lines of a soft underbelly. That we so often, if you were to graph all of our seasons, we are really good starters and then just fall away as the year goes on. And that tells me that we don't have staying power. There's some sort of softness there. And I think a lot of it is that we start to read our own headlines. We start to get caught up in the hype, and we don't really have the ability to be able to maintain it. And that's where you got to tip your hat to some other clubs like Cronulla, like, just about every week they come out, they do a job, everybody does their job, everybody knows what everybody does, and they're consistent, and we're just wildly erratic all of the time. You never know what you're going to get, and until we're stable, we're never going to be anything. So I don't know how we get that, and I hope that the decisions that we've made are decisions that have some plus side and some ability to consistently improve. The guys that we've invested in, the Benjis and those that, we hope they've got another gear and get back on the field and get a stronger team. But that's what I think hurts the fans so much this week is that, we looked at so many guys out there that are our future and went, oh my goodness, this is pretty bleak. So I still think we're better off than what we were 3 or 4 years ago. I think we're closer. I think we had, as I've banged on a lot about on the pod, I think we had probably 3 first graders 4 years ago, and we've probably got 15 or 16 now. 2027 recruitment, Josh, we've got to get another prop. We've got to get an impactful prop.
2, Joel, I think. I mean, because who knows how Royce Hunt comes back after an injury?
If he does,
if he does, but all you've really got is May, Pole, and Sione Fainu. So that's 3. Yeah. To me, an NRL squad needs 6, props in that top 30. I think we were short this year coming in. I think that's been one of the gaps. We haven't had enough, and I think we need at least 2 more props who can come on and play genuine first grade. I think the back row, with Roberts coming through, I think Suka's probably shown enough to re-sign. I don't think the back row is too bad. I mean, you
I'm not fussed about the
can't
back row.
really plan about losing a whole back row.
Mm.
But Twal is now a lock, and that's where he's staying. And Seafarth is back up, and it's probably all right. But the front row, we need more, and we need more so that May doesn't have to play 80 minutes. I think
100%.
that's that's killing him.
Yep.
And
he may not be able to do that right through his career. Like that
correct.
might have been just something he could do when you're 23, 24, but that might not be something you can do when
Can't
you're
go
26,
forever.
27, 28. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that to me is the number one area we should be focusing on from now through to the end of the season. It does make me wonder too because when it's kind of starting to look at next season or think about it, guys who need surgery, do we do it now? I think so.
Yeah.
Like finals is over.
Yeah.
Call it now. After the Warriors game, probably.
Yeah.
And anyone who needs surgery, go and get it done because I don't want them spending the whole off season.
Yep.
Like, getting surgery, not training, not going to, those kind of things.
Every year we have someone who's due back in round 5. A couple of guys. Yeah. Just do it now.
Yeah. Like this is the advantage of not playing finals because you actually can go and do this now.
So
Like,
let's
take
utilize
advantage.
this opportunity. Yeah. Yep. So long as you've got enough support around the young guys that you're going to bring in. I still have this in the pit of my stomach feeling, and I might be wrong, but I still get this feeling that Luai won't be here next year. I genuinely think that a deal will be done and he'll spend a year at Perth or something like that. And I just can't help but feel that feeling. But anyway, that's only a gut feeling that I've got. It's not based on any information. But I don't know if I could swap Luai for a couple high impact props for 2027. I'm doing that deal.
Just to know who would take it. Like, because it's 1 year. Like, it's like you got to pay $1.2 million for a year. It kind of,
or 600 if we had to pick up half.
Yeah, that's a lot we're paying.
I don't think it'll happen. I think Luai is too loyal to Benji. I know that's a weird thing to say considering he's already said, well, I'm not going to stay for my last couple of years. I'm going elsewhere for money. But I think he probably feels like he owes Benji, and I think he owes himself another year to get the Tigers into the 8. I think Jerome would be very disappointed to retire at the end of his career and say, I failed getting West Tigers into the top 8, which is what he came here to do. Part of his legacy.
I think it's a reverse loyalty. I think he was doing the right thing by Benji by seeking out another opportunity. And if that spirit flows through, that there's an opportunity here, he might say, look, you guys don't need me. I've got this opportunity over in Perth to be part of the debut, their debut year, and then I can go to PNG. I don't know. I'm just saying that I think it's a chance.
I'm not sure he's moving his kids and his wife from Western Sydney to Perth and then back to PNG. I can't for no extra money.
Look at the frequent flyer points. They could all go to Disneyland.
I imagine they're not short of a buck, Joel. I don't think that's the frequent flyer points are necessary.
What are the tax? What's the tax situation in WA? Is it any better?
If it's tax free, I'm headed over there.
Yeah,
packing my bags.
Get a job in a mine, Nick.
Yeah, why not?
You can get down there in the hole and completely forget about West Tigers.
That'd be great.
We're in a hole, aren't we?
I'll live there.
You'd be in a hole here or there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It should also be noted that we played in the orange away jersey, which is now officially the away jersey.
You know what? I nearly messaged you, Joel, and said we're guaranteed to win because we're wearing the orange jersey, but no, we still lost.
Yeah. Look, to be fair, the white one would have clashed with the Dragons' white and red. But anyway.
Can I just say I'm wearing the multicultural orange jersey, which has an undefeated record, 1-1 against the Warriors this year. This is as I said at the start of the year, what jersey do I like? I like a winning jersey.
Yeah, winning jersey.
And so this is the winning jersey for this year. The other two just aren't doing the job.
Yeah.
We should have kept that for the whole season. 100%. Agreed.
What we should do is we should advocate to the NRL for a 12-round competition every year.
That suits me just
That's
fine.
the only way we'll play finals.
We just get worse earlier, Joel, if that was the case.
Right.
It's not a...
You know what? I'd be happy next year if we play Vegas and we're done.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Just call it. Grand final.
That is our grand final. I don't want to go all that way and lose. But anyway. Thank you, boys. We'll catch the midweek pod on maybe Wednesday.
Thanks, Joel.
8 more weeks of it. Thanks, Joel.